Looks like Wicked is set for a hugely successful opening weekend at the box office. I hate to say it. I have been one of the #1 haters of the press run for this movie. Every single interview that Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande have been doing for this movie has just been exponentially more cringe as time goes on. However, the theater kids were not playing. They are really serious about seeing this movie. They've already made $19.2 million in previews. And the weekend is not even started.
To be fair, these previews date all the way to Monday.
Okay.
So it's not just Thursday night previews here.
Yeah.
It says it made $19.2 million previews over the weekend, or I'm sorry, over the box office. It says $2.5 million from Monday, $5.7 million from Wednesday advances, and $11 million from Thursday.
I don't know about you, but I hate to see the theater kids winning.
Well, you know, at least when they rub it in your face, they'll do so in the form of song.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah,
Are you kidding? And then the press has just gotten even worse. I didn't know it was possible, but these two women have been nonstop crying, sobbing, having mental breakdowns on camera in all of their interviews for the movie. Not just that, but Ariana Grande low-key came out as gay in one of these, claiming that her character Glinda might be in the closet. Here, let's take a look.
And trust and truth and like just such a safe space for one another, which is what all relationships should be. So, you know, whether it's romantic or platonic or, you know, maybe Glinda might be a little in the closet. But if there were a time, maybe, you know, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Give it a little more time and trust.
And then Cynthia Erivo is just like flashing her gigantic acrylic nails everywhere.
Did you see that she got very mad at Dax Shepard for asking how she wipes with those?
Who asked her that?
Dax Shepard on Armchair Expert podcast.
Oh my gosh, I did not see that.
She got very upset by that.
I'm sure she would be upset by that, yeah.
No sense of humor.
No, I mean, she also was mad at another interviewer for asking them both, like, what's the biggest misconception about you? And she was, like, offended. Like, these two women, but most especially Cynthia Erivo, they are coming off as very entitled and very self-absorbed.
I mean, but that's perfect for their audience,
It
right?
is perfect for their audience.
For the theater kid audience.
They are theater kids. They're making this movie for theater kids. It's by theater kids and for theater kids. I understand that.
Well, look, to be fair, like even people in this space who have seen it have said that it's good and that it's worth going to see. So I'm gonna take their word for it and assume that the movie's good. You can be an annoying person and still make a great movie. That's one of the things I love the most about art. A lot of my favorite actors are very, very annoying on social media. I love Wendell Pierce as an actor on Twitter, not so much. That's the way it is. I love that. I love that dichotomy. But, you know, this movie kind of has to make us ask the question, because we talk a lot about how the actions of actors and how they behave in their press junkets can have a negative effect on the outcome of their box office. But this movie looks to kind of prove us wrong.
What's going on with the press for movies nowadays? It's like every other movie has some kind of explosive crisis. Don't Worry, Darling, obviously was a crisis in PR. That's like that's going to turn into like a case study for PR crisis management firms. And then It Ends With Us had a huge amount of drama ahead of its release as well. And this one too, obviously.
Yeah. This movie's gonna have.
There was another recent movie. Well, I think just also like this whole spectacle leading up to Snow White as well has been a PR disaster.
Well, I mean, the same thing happened with the Marvels and all of that stuff. It's a whole thing. Maybe there is a bigger divide between the audience that watches these interviews and uses this as a way to gauge whether they want to go see something or not, and whether something is relevant or not. You can pretend like annoying interviews stop you from going and seeing a movie, but maybe it's just that people aren't interested. Like, I think when the Marvels came out, the strike was going on, right? So they're like, this movie didn't make any money because they couldn't be out there promoting it. They're like, no, if anything, that probably helped them at the box office, because it meant that Brie Larson couldn't say something stupid while doing a press junket. Is that true? I have no idea. I would argue that you could probably just stop these press junkets altogether.
They did that for Barbie, and it was totally fine. They made $1 billion
I think
during the strike.
I think that given the size of the Hollywood studios now and the money that's behind the machine of marketing, meaning not just these stupid red carpet interviews, but product placement and ads and all of that. Like, what's more likely, that they saw a 15-second ad for Wicked, or that they watched Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande cry in one another's arms while Variety asked them questions? It's more likely that they saw the ad. They don't need to do these press junkets anymore.
I'm glad that some people are being objective, that they found the movie enjoyable, even though the people in it are obnoxious. But I've also looked at some of the scenes, some of the early released clips of the movie, and I didn't care for it. The singing is just... it comes off way too auto-tuned to me and soulless, and the color grading looks terrible.
You know what's funny is, like, okay, back in the day, I imagine that male actors who were like all about the craft would do the movie, and that was the benefit for them, but then they'd be forced to go do the press junket, and they're like, oh, look, I don't really want to do the interviews. It's not really me. Now, the actors, like the stuck-up actors of today, they get forced to do the movie so that they can go and trauma dump during the press. They actually want more.
It's all leading up to that.
They're like, I don't make movies to make money. I make movies so that I can go on press tours and cry about my problems.
Because even though I have enough money to have a therapist,
it's an exercise in narcissism.
They really need that outlet.
Like, Cynthia's like, look, I'll go on all the press junkets.
We have a 20 from Dreamcast Night. Don't worry, guys. The theater kids aren't winning. They spent hundreds of millions to make a Wizard of Oz fan film, and they cast a POC as the Wicked Witch because they are purse puppies to the white libs. It will end badly.
Look, I don't think it's going to end badly. I think the movie will make its money back. Remember, this is just
going well so far.
This movie is just part 1 of 2. Now, you could be correct in one respect, which is that Moana comes out next weekend, and by next weekend, I mean next Wednesday, because it's Thanksgiving, which means it's going to zap at least some of the audience. So, what? If this weekend opens to Wicked in the first spot and Gladiator 2 in spot number 2, that means next weekend it'll probably be Moana, Wicked, Gladiator 2 over the holiday weekend.
It shouldn't have been Glicked. It should have been Wokana. There was yet another clip from an interview with Out Magazine where Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo nearly burst into tears all over again. But essentially, one of the songs on the soundtrack for Wicked is called Defying Gravity. It's like the big last song.
Yeah.
And this interviewer informed Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo that some people are taking the lyrics to Defying Gravity and holding space for it.
I saw somebody in the chat saying that they really like the song. So.
They're holding, but are you holding? You might like the song, but are you taking the lyrics of Defying Gravity and holding space for it?
I've seen this week people are taking the lyrics of Defying Gravity and really holding space with that and feeling power in that.
I didn't know that was happening.
She's like, what does that mean? It's kind of like...
She's too scared to ask what that means.
It's kind of like when I said the most annoying phrase that I've ever heard anyone say was when somebody said standing in their power.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I asked you politely what that even means. What the hell does that mean?
Seen it, yeah.
That's really powerful. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it on a couple posts. I don't know how widespread, but I am in queer media, so that's my,
That's really cool.
Yeah, I've seen.
So, did we get an answer as to what it means to hold space? Maybe we missed. Maybe they're actually pirating it and playing it illegally on Twitter Spaces, and that's what they mean. Maybe they're holding spaces for the song.
I feel like, maybe everyone else is sane and I'm the crazy one, because I don't know what these words mean anymore. It's like a new language. I saw this reaction to it. I can't tell what my favorite part of this video is. The solemnity in announcing that people have been holding space for the lyrics of a 20-year-old song. Cynthia acting like she personally wrote it. Ariana holding on to Cynthia's index finger, as you can see in this photo. Why are you doing that? Or the reveal, the big reveal that it was, I've seen a couple of posts. Because I'm in queer media, so that's my focus. What is wrong with these people? They need their own planet.
Look,
I think this
I'm sorry,
means
but in this space,
would all
Mary,
be better
you're the one
off.
who has to answer this question because no guy would ever know the answer to this question. If anybody here is going to be expected to know the answer, it's you.
we would all be better off as a collective society if theater kids just had their own country, preferably not one that is bordering any other countries. Perhaps they need an island. Or maybe they can go to Mars when Elon figures out space travel to Mars. They can be the ones who colonize Mars first.
could
So
do that.
the theater kids
And
will
they can
not
write
be
a play about it while they're
yes.
there.
So we can finally not be terrorized by theater kids. I've had enough. I don't understand these people. I'm not quite sure we're the same species. I don't want to understand. I don't want to understand them.
The other thing that could be working against Wicked right now is the fact that if you go to watch it, you have to worry about everybody singing during the singing parts.
Yeah, because they're a bunch of inconsiderate a-holes. So
Wicked fans ruin screenings by singing along to the soundtrack.
okay, so a group of musical theater kids who fancied themselves more talented than the on-screen cast broke into song. After a few exaggerated sighs and one or two side-eyes, they eventually got the message and stopped singing. New York
This is
Times
not the
reporter
Taylor Swift concert film.
Angela Weir went into a screening on Monday, but when Glinda began to sing Popular, one of the musical's early numbers, she was not the only one singing. It started slow, then people heard each other. It was like they encouraged each other. It was a beautiful scene, and then you're taken out of it. There was one theater kid on Twitter who thought this was completely reasonable. You should be allowed to sing in movie theaters whenever you want. Because if you don't want to hear people singing, then you should just wait for it to go out on streaming, obviously. You're ruining everyone else's fun.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start going to, like, when they, every month at the theater by us, they rescreen old movies. I'm going to wait for the movies that I know all the dialogue for, and then I'm just going to
You're just going to recite it?
I'm just going to recite. Like, I already terrorize Olivia by doing that sometimes. So I might have to do that at a theater. It's one thing to do it with a significant other. It's another thing to ruin a whole theater full of people's experience. Maybe that's the joy in life.
Keep in mind that before I read this quote, this is coming from the mouth of a 28-year-old woman. Okay, she is a grown adult saying this, not a child. She said, those who might be judgmental should wait for the release on streaming. People who are just judgmental in that way, please wait to stream it. Don't go the first day and yell at people for singing, for sharing that kind of joy when we've been waiting so long in anticipation for this movie. You can't stop someone who loves it so much.
Maybe they should just do singing screenings.
They are doing that.
Okay.
These people became such a problem singing in the movie theater that movie theaters had to set up special screenings just for them.
Give them the worst screenings in the worst theaters with all the broken down seats.
And turn off the heating. I guess it's winter.
Yeah.
Whatever. Unless it's special, a sing-along event, you should be the one who waits to stream it so you can sing to your heart's content at home rather than ruining the experience for everyone else at the theater. This is obviously the only logical solution.
Yeah.
They are insane. And I just, I recently saw this clip of Rachel Zegler. We all know that Rachel Zegler is into musical theater as well. She is another one of these theater kids who is getting more fame in mainstream Hollywood. I believe this video that is being reposted everywhere right now is from an audition tape that she posted on social media years ago.
All we know is that it's not what people were trying to frame it as, which was something related to the Trump tirade she went on recently.
This is not recent. It's not related to Trump, and it's not related to Snow White, but it is a very good example of the kind of performative, perklempt act that theater kids put on these days.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Yeah. That's, I know it's probably a script that she's reading off. First of all, if it is an audition tape, it wasn't great. Yeah. But secondly, that sounds like something Rachel Zegler thinks to herself all the time.
Yeah. I can't tell if maybe this is an issue of just narcissism run wild.
It really is unchecked theater kid narcissism.
All right.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.